I've played Hogwarts Legacy through all the way to completion twice. I've played every house, have the Platinum Trophy, and hundreds of hours played in this game. And somehow, I recently saw something I had completely missed. So I thought it would be fun to take a look back and share my top 10 secrets and Easter eggs from Hogwarts Legacy. And just to be clear, this isn't meant to be an exhaustive list. I know there are way more secrets out there than just 10. Even the official Hogwarts Legacy YouTube channel posted a video with 74 Easter eggs you missed. But today we're gonna take a look at my top 10, and we're starting with that secret that I just recently learned about. What's really crazy about this one is that it's in a spot I've walked by probably hundreds of times playing this game. To see it for yourself, just go to one of the most recognizable spots in Hogsmeade, here just outside the Three Broomsticks. From there, turn your attention over to the right, and there's a shop called Bingle and Blatch, which has 3 different entrances. Now, in case you were wondering, this is an original shop created by the Hogwarts Legacy devs. It's not a shop that we see or hear about in the original series. That being said, it holds a very interesting secret. What makes the shop fascinating is that it actually appears to be 3 shops in one. Take the brownish red door on the right and you'll enter a classic, somewhat Victorian style room that could be a bookshop. And this room alone is filled with interesting little details if you really take your time and look carefully. Immediately when you walk inside, you'll see the very same Medusa portrait that you can also find inside Hogwarts. Unlike the one inside the castle though, this one does not have the special freezing interaction prompt that we get with the other painting. As for the rest of the room, you have a pair of wingback chairs over by the fireplace, a couple of art pieces with magical creatures, this little stone dragon that seems to be like a podium for a book, and then at the back you have all those different books that I presume are available for sale. If you head back outside now though, and this time enter through the middle green door, the decorations and furniture placement are completely different. This one appears to be a clothing shop with various rolls of fabric, illustrations of clothing designs, a sewing machine, and a row of mannequins. The final shop is through the remaining left door. This one has a much more rustic look and seems to be a place where cauldrons are made. It's also possible the shopkeeper lives here, or at the very least sleeps here from time to time, given the bed in the corner. Overall, this is such a fun little Easter egg. It's something from the magical world that is demonstrated so well through a little game dev wizardry by having multiple rooms seemingly occupy the same physical space. So 2 of the lesser known Wizarding World games were released exclusively on the PS3 back in 2012 and 2013. Wonderbook Book of Spells and Book of Potions were both augmented reality games that required the PlayStation Move accessory. Now, despite their obscurity, J.K. Rowling had a hand in making both of these, and many consider the lore and new story details in these books to actually be part of the larger Harry Potter canon. Well, it just so happens that one of these little story details appears as an Easter egg in Hogwarts Legacy. In the area just off the Transfiguration Courtyard, you'll come across this painting. In it, we can see a dark wizard dressed eerily similar to the Death Eaters in Goblet of Fire. Along with this dark wizard, we have an individual by the name of Ilias, as well as his wife, Eliana. The dark wizard is a man by the name of Raxidian, and this full story is told within the Wonderbook Book of Spells video game. There's even a Revelio page here in Hogwarts Legacy which reads, "This painting depicts the young orphan wizard Ilias, who famously saved his entire village from an army of Dementors and the dark wizard Raxidian by conjuring a mouse Patronus." It's honestly a really cool story from the Wizarding World, and I love seeing this little nod make an appearance here in Hogwarts Legacy. And we've actually been live streaming all the old school Harry Potter games right here on our YouTube channel. So if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you do that, because at some point we are going to reach Wonderbook Book of Spells and Book of Potions, and I'm going to get to play them for the first time right here on the channel. Let's move on to number 8. And even though Hogwarts Legacy does a great job weaving in their own secrets, they also have plenty of Easter eggs that are direct nods to events from the books. In Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Nearly Headless Nick invites Harry, Ron, and Hermione to his 500th Death Day party. Typically, these are only attended by those who are deceased. Nick was actually really touched when the trio actually show up at the party. And it's true, he did think that it would help his chances of finally getting a spot in the Headless Hunt. Of course, the whole affair ends up being a pretty depressing experience for Harry, Ron, and Hermione. The moldy food, horrible smells, and overall gloomy mood weren't exactly pleasant for the living. Well, it just so happens Hogwarts Legacy has their very own version of a Death Day party that you can check out if you're curious. Like the Ilias painting, there's another Revelio page for this one, which reads, "This gloomy and spacious chamber in the lower dungeons of Hogwarts is perfect for the occasional Death Day party, celebrated here by the castle ghosts. Most mortals will want to avoid such festivities as the food served is frequently rotting, so the ghost can detect its aroma." Now, the first time you stop by, there may not be any ghosts present at all. Plus, this does require you progressing enough to learn the level 1 version of the Alohomora spell. But if you keep returning, you'll eventually find a number of different ghosts in the room, even including Nearly Headless Nick, and they appear to be actually celebrating a Death Day party. They even have all of the rotten food over on the right side of the room. Now, with all the dancing and music, this one seems to be at least a little more pleasant than Nick's Death Day Party. Unfortunately, though, you can't really interact with anything much while it's going on, and there aren't any dialogue options, but I still think this is a really fun Easter egg, and it just had to make an appearance here on the list. One of the more mysterious but also comical magical creatures in the original series is the giant squid. This squid lives in the Black Lake just outside Hogwarts and makes a couple of different appearances in the books. Now, even though Hogwarts Legacy takes place many years before Harry Potter's time at the school, we do still get an appearance of a similar giant squid, perhaps an ancestor of the creature that Harry meets all those years later. It's not just one reference to the giant squid, though. There are actually multiple Easter eggs for this one. Everyone is guaranteed to get a brief encounter as part of the game's first flying lesson. This happens on the mission with Ravenclaw student Everett Clopton.
Whoa, our aquatic resident likes to make an appearance once in a while.
Believe it or not, you can actually get this random encounter to happen again. So this is not just a one-time thing on this mission. There are a few different areas that you can see the giant squid pop up when you're flying through this particular area here. It's always pretty loud, so you shouldn't have to worry about missing it if you actually do get it to trigger. But from everything I've seen in my own testing and in watching other videos, it doesn't seem there's anything specific to trigger this. It appears to be completely random. This area is also close to a secret cave with a giant squid mural that anyone can go into. Now, if you play it as a Slytherin, you have a few additional options for a giant squid interaction. Of course, there's the random tentacle that can appear when you fire off a few spells at the window inside the common room. But there's also the Slytherin House exclusive quest, which involves you actually going through that mural of the giant squid after placing a piece of toast on the pedestal. And the toast, of course, could be seen as yet another Easter egg, a small little nod to the original series when Harry feeds the giant squid toast in Goblet of Fire. And speaking of those house quests, the most talked about one by far has to be the Hufflepuff House exclusive quest. Now, if you take a look at the trophy data for the game, it's estimated that under 14% of players actually reach the map chamber as a Hufflepuff. Knowing that shortly before this is the Jackdaw mission, we can estimate there's a pretty small number of players who have actually played as a Hufflepuff, at least to this point in the game. We already talked about the Slytherin exclusive quest involving the giant squid mural, but the Hufflepuff quest takes players to one of the most iconic locations in all of the Wizarding world, Azkaban Prison. To be honest, this one would likely be much higher on the list if you got to do anything of significance while actually walking through Azkaban. It's really a very limited and straightforward mission with little opportunity for interaction. Even so, getting to at least walk around a small area of the prison, seeing Dementors from afar, and having a pretty cool cutscene with a Patronus charm is still a pretty cool secret. And in my opinion, it's enough for Azkaban to take the number 6 spot on our list. In a lot of the Hogwarts Legacy videos here on the channel, I'm wearing these robes right here. And whenever I'm wearing them, there's almost always a handful of comments asking where and how I got them. So these robes are known as the Relic House uniforms, and they'll always match your house on that particular playthrough. They're a special reward obtained by completing the Daedalian Keys quest line. So while it takes a while to hunt them all down, it's definitely a worthwhile pursuit. They are just a single piece of gear though, so you'll need to mix and match other pieces to find your ideal look. I think these, all of them really, are among the best looking robes in the entire game. They even have a special effect that gives off a soft flash of light on the back anytime you cast a spell, and they're the only robes in the game to actually have this kind of special effect, or really even any effect like this. Moving on to number 4, and one thing that I love about Hogwarts Legacy is that they didn't always rely solely on details that we already know from the Wizarding world. The game also does a great job of telling original stories that still fit within the overall lore of the series. They also find ways to tell these stories in unique ways, and this one comes in the form of a secret room and an enchanted tapestry. Now, a lot of people found this secret room, as well as the Revelio page to go along with it, but many missed out on the extra secret contained here. The Revelio page is called Werewolf Saga Tapestries, and it says, "This set of tapestries tells the tragic tale of a witch bitten by a werewolf. She chose to flee from her home to protect her infant daughter and husband. Rumor has it that her daughter fell asleep to the howl of a wolf for years thereafter." What the Revelio page doesn't tell you about is a special interaction you can have with each tapestry by using the Lumos spell. On your way to the dungeons and shortly after the sleeping dragon statue, you'll find the room with the tapestry through the hidden entrance behind the letter K. If you start at the far left side and work your way over to the right, you can learn the first part of the story. All you have to do there is look at the tapestry. From that far right side though, you can trigger the werewolf transformation by using Lumos just in front of that far right tapestry. Make sure you go all the way back to the very first one on the left, but use Lumos in front of each one and you'll see the tapestries change to help you finish out the story. Up next, we have a secret in Hogsmeade that I somehow missed throughout my entire first playthrough of the game. And even now, more than a year later, I still see people learning about this one for the first time. In the main area just across from Honeydukes, there's a spot where, depending on the time of day, you'll find a Daily Prophet stand. Approach the stand and you can look at the cover of the paper. You can also interact to get a close-up view for one of the day's headline stories. What I love about this one is just the variety of different stories that you can read about here. Some of them even build on stories from previous days. Some even connect to things that are happening in the game itself. There's one that I'm thinking about involving a Cornish wizard who was arrested for breeding basilisks. Now, what's really crazy about that one is you can actually find the body of a wizard who appears to have been a breeder and maybe even died as a result of successfully creating a basilisk. There's another story about someone crossbreeding a dragon and a chicken. I think my favorite is the story of a mother who believes that her son has lost his soul to a Dementor. There's even a line about her trying to give him chocolate, which of course is a known short-term remedy to cheer up someone after an encounter with a Dementor. All right, for number 2, I've got to ask, have you found any of those random hedge mazes that appear across the Scottish Highlands in Hogwarts Legacy? Well, the mazes themselves are pretty straightforward, but to me, the real reward is the story behind each one of them. There are 5 possible spawn locations for the mazes, and you can find a total of 4 notes. These 4 notes tell the story of a dark Hufflepuff wizard by the name of Unan Blackwood. Yes, you heard me correctly there, a dark Hufflepuff wizard. I actually wish the mazes had been more elaborate here because the story that goes with them is so good. Somehow on my first playthrough, I only glazed over these notes, but when I actually took the time to go back and read them all as a group, the story is downright haunting. And don't get me wrong, I love the little extra details like this that provide extra backstory to further build out the world. At the same time, there's part of me that wishes this particular story wasn't so hidden and hard to find. It's just that good. Honestly, I think Unan could have been an even better antagonist than Ranrock or Rookwood. This one was just so close to being my top pick, but it just missed out. Hogwarts Legacy is a game where I somehow keep finding amazing details and well-kept secrets. In fact, with the number 1 secret on our list, Avalanche told us months ago exactly where to look, and people still didn't piece it all together until somewhat recently. I'm talking about 11 mysterious NPC deaths. In the Hogwarts Legacy Secrets video, community manager Chandler Woods said,
"As an opportunity for exploration and discovery, there are 11 NPCs in the open world who each died in mysterious ways, with notes that tell each of their unique stories. See if you can find them all." Well,
find them all is exactly what I did. And while the notes left behind definitely give you clues, they don't completely spell out exactly what happened. You'll need to use your knowledge of the wizarding world and maybe even a few environmental cues to figure it all out. Honestly, there's some that I'm still not even 100% sure if I know the exact answer. But after going around and finding all of these NPCs and the notes for myself, it has to be my favorite secret, or secrets in this case, in all of Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I actually made a full video on how I solved those 11 dark mysteries, so make sure you check out that one next. And I have to give a special shout out here to Nico, Martin, Savage Khaleesi, Dylan, and Noah for supporting our channel with a Tier 3 Phoenix level membership. Also, thank you to all of the other members of House Raconteur. You guys all together help make these videos possible. As always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.